Yeah. Well, it's really nice to see some familiar faces as well on the call. So I'm Carolyn McConnell. I am a career civil servant on secondment to business in the community. I don't want to say too much about business in the community because I'm here to really talk about Sheffield Business Together. But I think it's useful as a little bit of context. So I came on secondment to business in the community in 2018. And my role was to try and understand the needs in Sheffield and the challenges and create strategic partnerships to meet those needs. So it soon became apparent that doing that on my own were going to be good for my soul, but not really making that much impact or very sustainable. So I came across Paul at Voluntary Action Sheffield, who'd been having a few conversations with businesses about how do we link up and create some synergy with like-minded businesses who want to do more. So we had the idea of creating, well, I think we called it the Responsible Business Forum at that time, but we created Sheffield Business Together because, as I say, there was so many businesses in the city who clearly had a heart and wanted to help and engage with their communities. But it was all a little bit through personal connection and serendipity, and Johnny in accounts, kid goes to Dobcroft, so we'll help Dobcroft School. It wasn't very strategic and it wasn't linked to the key city challenges. So we formed Sheffield Business Together, and there's a picture there of my colleague Paul from Voluntary Action Sheffield at our launch event. And the whole mission around Sheffield Business Together is to bring together like-minded businesses to collaborate, connect, and share and harness resources across all sectors to address the key city challenges. And there is our steering group. So we've got a lot of the key businesses in the city on the steering group, as well as representation from charities through South Yorkshire's Communities Foundation and Voluntary Action Sheffield, and through me on my secondment to business in the community. So what's different about Sheffield Business Together? Because a lot of businesses already engage with charities. So what we looked at the time when we set up in 2019 is the State of Sheffield report and other intel about what were the key things we needed to do in Sheffield. And so we said, we don't want to spread ourselves too thin. We want to focus in on a few key city challenges and make a real targeted and focused difference where it's needed the most. So we settled on 4 campaign themes. The first one is voluntary sector sustainability and social action. And that is about how do we help our voluntary sector partners not just survive, but thrive? How do we encourage the more sharing of resources, of expertise from businesses to charities? And can we do projects that no one business can deliver on their own? So, it's that synergy between businesses coming together to help with bigger projects that you wouldn't be able to approach a business for on their own. The second one was the environment and air pollution in Sheffield. And our focus of that campaign has been establishing a green fence in Hunters Bar playground. Now the school is on the Ecclesall Road corridor, really high nitrogen dioxide levels, not a blade of grass in that playground. And that picture there is me and other colleagues from Sheffield Business Together. So we engaged with the school and the environmental scientists from Sheffield University, who did a real great study piece about what was the composition of the particulates in the air that were causing that pollution. And then very cleverly told us which plants we needed to plant to block and absorb that traffic pollution. So the net result were, I think there were overall 70 organisations involved in that project, and we put an 80-metre green fence consisting of 3 layers of plants to block and absorb that pollution. And the businesses contribute. Henry Boot did a lot of the work. the groundwork. Arup did some of the structural scanning work for the utilities. And then all the businesses bought the plants and came and planted the plants, and the community were involved, and obviously the school drove the whole project. But it was a great example of collaboration for good, and we're now looking at how we scale that, because you're probably aware if you've got kids in schools in Sheffield, there's a lot of nitrogen dioxide diffusers dotted about the city, so we're monitoring the air quality. And then the other campaign that is very dear to my heart, coming from a family of miners, is social mobility. And this again was school. Businesses did quite a lot of outreach with schools, but again, it were a little bit unfocused and targeted. So we partnered with Sheffield Hallam University, South Yorkshire Futures, and our lovely colleagues at the council in the skills and lifelong learning. I think Graham's on the call, I've seen his face. And we said, well, how can this be different? So we looked at the indices of multiple deprivation, we looked at the social mobility heat map, and we invited schools and colleges in those areas to partner with us. And we've made a real focused and targeted difference. So we've got more of a systems approach. So it's not just about the interventions. Arup gave Longer College, who's our partner college, laptops, and ARM gave Springs School, that's on the Manor, laptops during lockdown. But we've engaged businesses to work within the schools to raise attainment and aspiration by sharing, helping the kids become skill ready, work ready through CV writing, mock interviews, mentoring. We've done what's my line of work. We've also done lots around workplace visits. We've took them to ARM and showed them robotics and artificial intelligence, brought them into the civil service, show them how we develop digital applications. So they're our key campaigns. So I know that probably the one that is dear to everybody's heart on this call is how we engage with charities. So I'll cover that off when we do the question and answers. But briefly, just to mention as well, through Business in the Community's National Business Response Network, over the last 2 years, we have had massive donations that have come into the city, where the relationship between business in the community and Sheffield Business Together has been amazing, because you've had a lot of massive corporates donating things to business in the community, but through Sheffield Business Together, we've had the on-the-ground network that's managed to bring those donations in. And a lot of the charities on the call might have benefited. We had, I think, 8 tons of chocolate, which when it turned up is an Arctic lorry, is a lot of chocolate. I was in chocolate heaven dishing that out for a couple of days. So there were Easter eggs, there was cereal. We've had Aviva donated lunch bags that went to all the homeless charities at the beginning of lockdown. We've had water, we've had stuff from Greg's, we've had masks, hand sanitizer. We've just got and 40,000 bottles of hand sanitizer come from L'Oreal this week that we've offered to charities, and we will be dishing out. So we managed to benefit over 50 charities in Sheffield, but I think over Sheffield City region, there were about 70 charities, because some of those donations went off to Doncaster and Barnsley, as in the picture that's just going off. So in terms of just in the last year, we've managed to do over 51 projects which have benefited 46 charities, and it's had a leverage value of, it's over 245,000, because our food bank campaign that we launched at the beginning of the pandemic has now raised 145,000. And what we ask businesses to do, we don't normally deal in money through Sheffield Business Together. It's more about linking businesses to have a longer term relationship with a charity. But at the beginning of the pandemic, we made an exception. because the food banks were experiencing like a 300% spike in demand. So we asked all the businesses involved with Sheffield Business Together, we asked the people if they would donate a week's bus fares or parking or petrol, given that everybody were working from home. And we've had such an amazing response to that. And the other thing we're doing is diversity and inclusion events that Sarah touched on. We've run 3 diversity and inclusion events now, and that was in partnership with the Sheffield City Region Chambers, Doncaster, Barnsley, Rotherham and Sheffield, to raise awareness of the inclusion and diversity landscape and what businesses could do to build back more inclusively. We've had some great speakers from Sandra Kerr MBE, who is the race equality lead at BITC, to speakers from DWP. And we're just in the process of establishing a diversity and inclusion network across Yorkshire and the Humber to accelerate learning and sharing of good practice. There was such a demand from the businesses who presented at the events that other businesses wanted to learn from. So we're just in the process of setting that up. And our very latest news is we've been great at delivering across Sheffield Business Together, but we're funded by a core number of businesses, and that's not sustainable long term. I'm obviously cheap and cheerful because I come free. But again, you know, I've gone for the longest secondment in civil service history. I've had 4 years. I think I might be pushing my luck for another year, but we needed to look at how we make Sheffield Business Together more sustainable. And Louisa Harrison Walker, who's on the steering board for Sheffield Business Together, is also, I think she's executive director at Sheffield Chamber. So we decided over a coffee to bring both organisations together. And Sheffield Business Together from June has become Sheffield Chamber's corporate social responsibility arm. So we've now got another 900 businesses who we can pester to do good and help in Sheffield. So that's the presentation. I don't know whether you've had any well, I know, Emma, you've probably got some questions for me.
I do, yeah. We've got 5 more minutes. So thank you so much for taking us through that. I know that there's a lot that Sheffield Business Together is doing and can do and is only going to continue to grow doing because of the you know, joining up with the chamber, which is fantastic. There's been some really good comments in the chat function whilst you were presenting. Obviously a number of our attendees are already signed up. We've got Rich Davies from Highlander, who him and his firm are already connected. And I think it was Erica from S&4Cs too. They've got a campaign running at the moment with a single bedding appeal to dress hospital beds for older people in their own homes, which is brilliant, and donations come via SBT, so that's lovely. Great question here from Mahara. Thanks for submitting this. How can businesses be part of Sheffield Business Together? I have a business which is an ethical property management agency and would love to be part of this type of group. So as I said, we've got 5 minutes, so let's try and keep, you know, answer the questions as sort of nicely as you can, and then we can get through everybody.
Yeah, it depends very much on the size of your business. If you're a member of Sheffield Chamber, you automatically have access to Sheffield Business Together. But at the moment, just working through with the Chamber partnership, how the membership offer is going to work, because we had a subscription model based on the number of employees. But we would urge you to probably join the Sheffield Chamber, and because it's a great offer anyway. You get all the benefits of being a Chamber member, and you get access to Sheffield Business Together. And I think it's £350 a year to be a Chamber member as a charity or not for profit. So a great investment. But you know, we never stop engaging with anybody because of money, which is probably our downfall. But so we would be happy to engage, and I'd be happy for my email to be shared.
Great. And with regards to whether it's Sheffield Chamber, a really good question is this specific to Sheffield City, or is it the wider region?
It did start because the founding businesses are Sheffield based. Most of our activity is in Sheffield, but with the exclusion probably of the diversity and inclusion events. But yeah, it is Sheffield focused. There's only me 3 days a week, and I've got a colleague, Karen, who leads on the voluntary sector brokering, who's 3 days a week. Until we can sort of get more resource, we have got to focus just on Sheffield for now.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Work in progress.
Yeah.
Okay, time for just one more question, and this comes from Rona Bywater. Thank you for this. It says, on the environment theme, is there any involvement with the urban guerrilla gardening movement who tackle green spaces in and around city centres?
I think indirectly, because what we're currently exploring is a partnership with the Sheffield Sustainability Network, which I think they are part of. So we're looking at how we're looking at having more thematic boards under the big Sheffield Business Together steering boards. And we've been talking to the Sheffield Sustainability Network about how we can, they've got so much expertise on this agenda. I think there's definitely room for partnership there. Can I just say, Emma, which I didn't cover off because I thought we were going to cover in questions, but the things that charities can ask from Sheffield Business Together, we specifically didn't do money because that can be done outside Sheffield Business Together. So we're about less transactional engagement. So is there some skills you need? We've done, you know, businesses give expertise around GDPR, marketing. We've had a ventilation engineer go out to Greentop Circus to make sure they're COVID compliant. We've had graphic designers. Twinkle have given books. So it's all about how do we partner up businesses with charities to give resources and expertise, but to develop a longer term relationship with that charity as well, so everybody thrives. And I'm sorry, I've got some builders and that's drilling. If anybody can hear it, it sounds like I'm at the dentist.
Oh, that sounds like that's definitely a cue for us to wrap this session up, I think, if your builders are here now. Carolyn, thank you so much for coming along. I know that there are likely to be more questions for you. So what I will do is obviously forward those to you. And obviously, as people know, after this event, I will include those and your contact details so that, you know, things can be taken further and people can connect with you.
I'll send the form out, Emma. There's a form for how you engage with Sheffield Business Together, and as part of the post-event emails, I'll send a form.
Yeah, if you send that to me.
I'm off for most of the summer, and we've got a pipeline up to September, but we will be looking for projects from September. So please do get in touch.